Hello, this is Maria Talara from microbiology and our experiment antibiotic sensitivity using Kirby Bayer diffusion test. So for our experiment, we like to set up our table, gather all the supplies so our experiment goes smoothly. First of all, we need to prepare the table that we will use. So we like to disinfect it with bleach, and I like to use tissue or a kitchen paper towel. So I put an extra barrier on my table. Then we have our personal protective equipment. The lab asks that we wear a mask. um, Also, we do have an apron available for us, and of course our gloves, and then our safety goggles. I usually don't use these three in my experiments because I read through the instructions and there's no splashing involved in this experiment, so I will not be using them. I will only be using my gloves. And of course, you need to make sure you wash your hand so you don't introduce new bacteria in the experiment. Of course, we do have our candle and our lighter that will disinfect our tube, infect the lid of the tube to kill any bacteria that can contaminate our specimen. And then I have here a cup with my pipettes to use to gather my broth and use it for the experiment. I do have the alcohol to disinfect my pipettes, and usually you like to pinch it and make sure there's alcohol that goes through inside the tube. And then also I have my forceps that I'll be using to grab the little antibiotic paper, or the Bayer test, this one. So we also will need to disinfect that along with our pipettes. Of course, we have to unwrap it. And then we do have our tool to spread the bacteria in our agar plate. And that is and then we do have our antibiotics that is in the paper, which is the Kirby Bayer diffusion test. We have oh sorry, it's wrong paper. So we have the penicillin and gentamicin, and I grabbed the wrong paper. The bag, and I have to look for my neobicin. Then we have the plate to put our experiment. We have a marker to mark 3 areas that will be putting our antibiotics, so we know which area is which. And that is our first experiment. We will have to open our specimen tube, make sure it's disinfected by the candle. We take 0.5 ml of that broth and drop it on our, of course, ready agar plate where we already marked where we're gonna put the antibiotics. We do drop 8 drops of the broth to the agar plate and use this to spread it evenly in the agar plate, and then drop our antibiotics using the tweezers to their designated area. And then we incubate it for at least 12 hours to have growth and see the zone of inhibition and measure it using a ruler and using the millimeter measurement. And then of course, after an experiment, we have to disinfect everything with the bleach. Our second part of our experiment, also of course, the whole infection control protocol should be done with hand washing and preparing the area and using gloves. And for this second part of the experiment, we were provided with a slide, penicillium with conidia, which is inside our specimen box with the other slides, and it's already prepared for us, and it's to view on our microscope. And of course, we learned how to use microscope on the prior experiment. So let me begin with my experiment. Thank you.